Welcome to the German Climate Pavilion at COP28 in Dubai. Ambitious, just together.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Emiko Sepúlveda Mave. I am from Chile. I want to start thanking the German Pavilion for hosting us and thanking all of you for being here. I know COP is hard. There's a lot of things happening. Thank you for the waiting too. So we today have an interactive session where we'll start with a little panel and we will then work together to bring up solutions for cooperation between Global North and Global South youth. So how are you feeling today? Good? How's COP going? Harsh? Okay. Yeah, so I want to be this conversation a little bit more out of the formal thing because we pass the whole days like attending panels, attending negotiations, so we can make this a little bit more fun, right? We will try. So we have here Lina from Austria. She has experience hosting ELCOIS in Austria. We have here Pablo from Spain. He also has experience hosting this year's ELCOIS Spain. And then we have Jaime from Alejandro Jaimes. That's your entire name. Alejandro from Colombia, which is also from ELCOI Colombia. And what ELCOI is, so for those that don't know what an ELCOI is, okay, so it doesn't work. ELCOIs are local conferences of youth, and these are self-managed, created by youth for youth. And these are conferences just like this, not like this conference of parties, because it's not the same, but we try to gather together to talk about the things that matter for us regarding climate change and how we can be part of the solutions, how we can demand better solutions. And the main product of the main objectives or each ELCOI is to have a statement, a youth statement, so we can push for more ambition, climate action in our countries, in our territories, in our regions, and at COP, right? So we have here our stellar panelists to share more about the different realities, because I'm the national coordinator of the ELCOI Chile just this year, and I'm realizing that a lot of things are happening and a lot of things are different. The reality in my country is actually not the same that in the other countries of the Global South, and in the Global North happens the same, right? So we want to exchange some ideas regarding that, and I want to start with some questions for you guys. And you can answer whichever you want. So can you tell about us, what are the main objectives or each of your ELCOIs? And you can explain the audience the format you think about, why do you think that this format should attend the needs of the young people in your country, and which are the main things you have to do to bring people together in each of your ELCOI. Lina, want to start?
I can start. Just for a quick introduction also to me, and to the ELCOIs in Austria. There were 6 ELCOIs already in Austria since 2018. I was participant in the first one and in the last one, and the other 4 I co-organized with with the exception of 2022, where I was the main organizer. And there were a lot of actually, ELCOI Austria was with the ELCOI Netherlands, one of the first in Europe. Yeah, and in the past years, we really shifted, because in the first year there were like 6 to 7 workshops through a whole weekend, and in the last ELCOI there were just 2. But what I really liked about this year's ELCOI was the first day, like the opening session, was all about COP, and also me as a youth delegate. I'm now currently a youth delegate. We had like a session explaining what COP is, and sorry, I have to start again because it's yeah, I have so much in mind to say. The ELCOI and Youth Delegate Program are by Climate Austria, which is a youth climate NGO in Austria. And we have there 2 other projects. One is called Klimareporterin, which is like climate reporters. And we have also like COP in My City, which is like a workshop where we go, especially in schools, and teach children how to negotiate, but also what COP is. And I think what really was extraordinary this ELCOI was that the first day of ELCOI was just about COP and what is COP, also with to negotiate to get to the 1.5 degree limit. And we also had a panel discussion about, what was it? Populism and climate crisis. It's, I think, that the first day of ELCOI was all about COP really helped a lot of people, a lot of the participants there to understand the bigger picture. And the last day is always like a big outcome session where we also invite politicians and the youth can tell them directly their demands, but also work with us youth delegates together to write a demand letter or a demand catalog, which we bring to COP and COI and also to our local politicians, but also to EU politicians. Yeah.
Thank you, Lina. Well, I can go back to you later. Pablo, if you can tell us more about ELCOI Spain, the format, what do you think about, why do you build this ELCOI in that way?
Mm-hmm. Yes, in the case of Spain was the first experience that we have this year with an ELCOI for actually 4 days in the mountains. It was great because we choose like a nature space. For us was super important that. And we have 2 objectives. Of course, debate all the COP issues and debates the 1.5 limit, also finance or adaptation goals. But our main objective was like after the pandemic of COVID 2020, all the ecological movements, green movements, activist movements in Spain were split off. So we need to come together again, and we thought that ELCOI is a good moment for do that. So yeah, it was a space also for sure. How was the activist movement in general in Spain? So many people have this space to get together to point to get. Yes, point in vision globally, and yeah, that was for me was the main objective of that ELCOI.
Thank you, Alejandro.
Okay, well, just to give you a little bit of context, in Colombia's case, we this year was the first time in person that we had the ELCOI, so it was kind of the first try, and we were exploring how to do it in person. So we wanted to actually have better connections with youth, because in the versions we had in the past were always virtually. So we did a lot of work to connect with a university and to also connect with the government to actually have kind of more dialogues with the actual decision makers. So I think we made it. We had the opportunity to talk with negotiators, with the Just Transition negotiator, who was also part of the delegation of the ELCOI, and also with the GST negotiator. And I think one thing that was great also is that during our ELCOI, the government, the Ministry of Environment, launched the youth participation strategy to ahead of to go to COP. And it was actually a great experience for people, not just from my city, the capital, but also from other regions, to understand how a policy brief or a policy draft is created, and how important it is to countries in these spaces. And I think also a great thing, the format was to make it diverse. We had a lot of side events, so that not just people, you know, have the opportunity to discuss and build the statement, youth statement, but also like to learn from various topics like water and also food systems, etc., etc. So it was kind of a diverse LCOI.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's interesting to me because we are the Alco Chile didn't talk about negotiations at all. Like it wasn't, even though we are like framed in this ecosystem, it wasn't like a priority for our youth to talk about negotiations because there's so much happening at the local level and in the territories that actually the demand for more participation within youth is like to have more spaces for dialogue and to have more workshops to be on, to have more in-person meetings. And I had a presentation to initiate this panel, but it's not happening. And it could have maybe like contribute to the discussion because, so yeah, we have 4 objectives this year to bring the update of our statement to empowering youth through climate action, which is we did like things in the ground. We work with some public gardens, with some local, how do you say huertos in English?
Like community gardens.
Community gardens, yeah, and making actions in the street. Also working in the rooms, gathering together to speak about our demands, and also we're now trying to make advocacy with our own statement in Chile. So that was like the format for us. We did like regional meetings virtually, and then 2 in person, one in the north, one in the center, and the COI in the south. So yeah, now I want to pass to you, and if you can tell me what are the main demands of your country's COIs, of the country's youth, and the topics that you talk about, or what do you wanted to bring here at COP for those demands?
There are a lot of demands from the youth, but there is, on a national level, we want a climate law, actually, and we wanted it since, I think, 2020 or 2021 latest. And there is still no climate law in Austria, and it's really difficult, and it's difficult to tell the participants that there is still no climate law. But this year they also managed, because we had like this COP session, they also managed to get a lot of demands for COP itself, like especially I wanted a fossil fuel phase out. They wanted a loss and damage fund, which is really nice, and they kind of understood the bigger picture behind it. And yeah, that are the main demands. And also like meaningful youth participation is always a big topic there, because we also see a lot of youth washing. Yeah, I think those are like the main focus points in Austria.
Thank you, Lina. What about Spain?
In Spain, one of the things that surprised me more was like, negotiations. Language is sometimes very technical, so we try to did something like you said in Austria or here, like to try to involve people with local problematic and to engage more like this. But they were super focused on negotiation. They want to learn more about the language of United Nations process. So that surprised me, because for most of them was the first time that they start to learn about this. And yeah, I think one of the main objectives of local youth from Spain was mitigation, but also they were super focused on finance, and especially on the growth, the economy as local north. So yes, so we have a lot of debates about how to degrowth our economies and to grow up in other ways.
Okay, we also had a lot of demands, but I think, well, just like to give more details, also we chose 4 topics, like big topics. We chose just transition, community planning, also climate resilience, and I forgot the other one, and biodiversity. So we tried to encompass a lot of all the topics so that people could discuss what they were interested. We also had a lot of discussions with indigenous communities. They, for instance, demanded to strengthen consultations in case of carbon markets projects happen, and also in the loss and damage discussions, it was really important for them to also understand the cultural heritage vulnerability that they could have with climate change. But we also have other demands, general demands, to include gender perspectives in all of the topics, and also to increase a local perspective within the climate policies, and to also have a community-driven approach within the policies that we already have, because Colombia has a lot of policies already, environmental policies, but we need to improve them with the knowledge and local knowledge that exists.
Great. I think what every one of you just said is a great bridge to the second part of the session, because we want to talk the differences and the different needs and what are the common things that we can do between Global North and Global South to cooperate between youth, right? For example, for you guys are questioning how can we degrowth and slow down our consumption, or maybe cut it just directly, and just transition to, which could be some topics we think about more of the global south demand, but it's super great that youth in the global north are actually questioning that too. And for us, for example, from the global south, it's super important to the localization of efforts and bring those identities up to these negotiations. For example, we partner with a group of indigenous youth in Chile to carry out a separate consultation phase for their own demands, which is, I think, something that also happened in Colombia, and we also did that with children. And we partner with and consult with children and their caregivers, of course, to include them in our demands. And I think those differences, maybe we can share them. And now this is the third and last question for you guys. How can you say which needs you identify for you and the youth, either you're from the global north or south, that you need to know about the other part of the world to build more collaborative solutions around the globe?
Sorry, what was the question?
Yeah, sorry. So what can you say? So sorry, yeah, it's boring for me. What can you say that the youth, either you're from the global north in your case or the global south as us, need to know or to explore or to question or to talk about to build more collaborative solutions around the globe?
How?
For example, I can start the answering that. For example, for us, because we had an exchange in the Alcoy, Germany, and that's why we are here actually. And one of our team members went to the Alcoy, Germany, to present our Alcoy, and there was so different. There were so different spaces, because in German, as we were told before the experience, they were having workshop sessions, side events. They have another worries regarding climate change, but we were gathering together to think about how can we put these demands on top, how can we prioritize, how can we co-create, how can we build strategies to talk with our politicians. We were a lot of the national and subnational level, not that much in the international. That ends up being my job here at COP. But yeah, so we would like to access to the opportunities maybe you have in the global north, for example, and also to share, to exchange visions and have debates or conversations together, to expand both our perspectives and yours too.
Okay. Actually, we tried to have video messages from all over the world in the last years, but I think because of the different formats and that there isn't a time where you have to have your alcohols. It's quite difficult to do so because sometimes we had like overlapping alcohols, especially with Alcohol Germany, which was like preventable because we were talking to each other. And I really would like to have a better connection with some of the alcohols in the Global South, because I think it will really benefit us in the Global North, especially in Austria, to understand the climate crisis even better. The difficulty I see in that is that at our alcohol, most of the people are already in the climate movement and know a lot about it, but there are still new people to it, and we are also trying to give other perspectives on like the climate crisis, because the why is the climate crisis, the main points, most of them already know, and we try to get other points. So maybe we could do some workshops together or invite like people from Colombia or Chile to have workshop sessions at Elcoy to give a more emotional and not only theoretical idea of climate change.
That sounds great. What about Spain?
Yes, actually, I think Latin America has a great experience on El Koi, and Europe we have a lot of to learn. I think so, because in Spain was the first one, and I think you have done like some 3 actually, yes, and yes. Also, we don't have even a regional koi. There is a Eastern regional koi, but we don't have like an Europe regional koi. Hope this year, not yet. So we'll try, but yeah, I think we have a lot to learn from the local coins from Latin Americas, and also cooperation is essential. I think you have like a real perspective of what is like a real problem in adaptation, for example, or something like that, and you are really suffering that problem. And from the north, the global north, we have other problem that's not that real. I think so. Cooperation, link it is super important in that sense.
Thank you. Your last one.
Okay, so what I think is, first, before like making collaborations, like creating collaborations, I think it's really important to strengthen our like own like processes. I think we can strengthen with collaborations, but in the case of Colombia, like this year we had our first in-person LCOI, so like it's important to also like build kind of a structure first, and then to like create collaborations. But I think also like it's really important to create collaborations, because thinking about strategies, I think it will be great to connect, for instance, with a country whose companies are extracting or exploiting our territories, and somehow connecting with youth that can have like an impact on policies and in the systems of those countries can actually help us a lot. And I think it would be great to connect because of that, because there are already like connections with climate like youth movements in the north who have been protesting or like creating movement around mining companies to demand justice, for also like in solidarity with communities in the global south. So I think yes, it's a great opportunity, because we can create like bigger campaigns to demand climate justice.
That's actually a super great idea, and put it on a paper, because we suffer in Latin America, and maybe Africa is the same. There's a lot of international companies that come from companies from the global north. I'm just thinking in Norway, for example, and all the salmon industry in Chile, or the mining that comes from Canada and Australia, and we are not connecting with those youth, and maybe we can like actually build some action that they can help us in their countries to demand their companies to be more sustainable, or just like to stop what are they doing. So yeah, that's actually a real good idea. So that's for the panel, because we have advancing in the time, and now, well, we are a few, so the plan was to Thank you so much, guys. Sorry for that. But thank you so much for your participation. And now the plan is like, so since we are a few people, I can want to call you like in the front line, because I have prepared the interactive part. And so that's how we do this in Chile. We use papers, we use post-its, we use pens. We don't actually use draft text as a cop, because I think it's boring. It's so boring. Yeah, we use whiteboards and ideas. So since we are just few people, we can just work together in one group. And if you can help me to distribute some of those?
I think it's a very alcohol-y thing to do so,
Yeah.
because we also have like a lot of lip chart papers, and it really reminds me for at alcohol.
Yeah, that's cool. And I think that people in negotiations should do these kind of dynamics too. Because being seated on a table 5 hours speaking on a draft text is kind of boring. So yeah. So here my friend, who's also from Colombia, Johan, is going to help me to give you some sticky notes. And we have 2 main questions to ask. So given our conversation and what we were talking about, the first question is, what needs do we identify to improve our action in the Global South and Global North? So what do you think, from your experience, needs to be done? What needs are that needs to be attended? For example, what we were saying in the panel, we need more exchange of ideas between the youth in the Global North and the Global South. There's a lack of information, for example, or there's a lack of opportunities. There's a lack of access to high-level people in companies, in governments, in negotiations. So yeah, I would like for you to bring those ideas on a paper. If you have a pen, it will be so great, because I didn't bring. No, you can share whatever. Yeah, so it will be super nice if you can put your ideas here. The panel is also invited to do that, so everyone can participate. Do you have pencils?
Welcome to the German Climate Pavilion at COP28 in Dubai. Ambitious, just together.